Welcome to today's Explainer. Today we're diving into a totally refreshing and honestly kind of cynical antidote to a huge problem we all face, our modern society's absolute toxic obsession with relentless positivity. Seriously, if you've ever felt just utterly drained by this constant pressure to be happy all the time or endlessly successful, well, you are in the exact right place. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so we're looking at author Mark Manson's philosophy today, and we are completely flipping the script. Manson categorically rejects this conventional wisdom that says we should always be striving for more, to be happier, faster, sexier, richer, the whole shebang. In fact, he argues that this endless, exhausting pursuit of unrealistic positive expectations, it's actually terrible for our mental health. It's a fast track to misery. So here is the agenda for today. We're going to unpack this counterintuitive philosophy in 4 clear steps. First, the positivity problem. Second, the feedback loop. Third, 3 crucial subtleties. And finally, 5 counterintuitive values. Let's jump right in. Part 1, the positivity problem. We're going to look at exactly why striving for more actually hurts us. You know the drill, right? Traditional self-help tells us to visualize success or stand in the mirror and repeat positive affirmations. But think about it for a second. This intense fixation on the positive actually just serves to remind us of what we don't have. It highlights our deficiencies. We stand there telling ourselves we're beautiful specifically because, deep down, we don't really believe we are. Manson's approach is wild because it calls us to stop trying to be quote-unquote better and instead to honestly just project our authentic, completely flawed selves to the world. It's all about embracing our shortcomings rather than slapping a fake smiley face over them.
Moving right along, we hit section 2, the feedback loop. This is the very dangerous trap of feeling bad about feeling bad.
Manson calls this the feedback loop from hell, and honestly, it is a borderline epidemic right now. It's heavily fueled by social media and a consumer culture where everybody else's life looks completely picture perfect. Here's how it goes. Step 1, you get angry or anxious about something trivial. Step 2, because society basically brainwashes you into thinking you should feel great 24/7, you start getting mad about the fact that you are mad. And then, step 3, you completely spiral into self-loathing. You're literally angry at yourself for getting angry about being angry. It's exhausting. The magic trick to short-circuiting this whole mess? Just acknowledging that feeling bad sometimes is a totally normal human experience. It is fine. Which brings us perfectly to section 3, 3 crucial subtleties. We really need to define what not giving a fuck actually means in practice. Because, let's be clear, Manson is definitely not suggesting we become a bunch of emotionless, apathetic zombies. There are 3 key subtleties here. First off, true indifference isn't strength. Actually, scratch that. It's really just hiding. People who act indifferent are usually just terrified of making choices. The real art here is intentionally choosing what you do care about and boldly living by your own self-prescribed values, even if it sets you apart from the crowd and makes you look a little different. Subtlety number 2, to not care about adversity, you must care about something more important than adversity. Basically, if you find yourself getting incredibly stressed out over superficial stuff, like losing your mind over a minor traffic jam or your Wi-Fi dropping out, it just means you haven't found a legitimate, meaningful focus for your energy yet. You desperately need a purpose that's bigger than your everyday inconveniences. And the third subtlety, whether you realize it or not, you are always choosing what to care about. Think about when we're young. We care about every little thing, right? Who said what? Who has the best shoes? But as we mature, we naturally learn to stop sweating the small stuff. We become highly selective, we simplify our lives to focus only on what is genuinely worthy of our limited time and attention. And that selectivity brings us to our final stop today. Section 4, 5 counterintuitive values. Think of this as your roadmap for a better life. To actually change how we experience life's inevitable problems, we have to adopt new metrics, new values to measure them by. So here are the 5 core counterintuitive values we're looking at. Choosing to be responsible, being wrong about everything, failure is the way forward, rejection makes your life better, and finally, contemplate your own mortality. Let's break these down real quick. Value 1 is choosing to be responsible. Now this is a huge one, so listen closely. We have to separate fault from responsibility because they are 2 completely different things. Fault is in the past. Responsibility happens right now in the present. So even if an external circumstance, say a terrible breakup or a sudden job loss, is completely not your fault, it is always your responsibility to manage how you respond to it right in this moment. Choosing to own your problems is the absolute first step to actually solving them. Value 2 is all about being wrong about everything. Which sounds crazy, I know, but as humans, we are pretty much constantly wrong. But here's the thing. Looking back and realizing you were wrong about something, that's actually undeniable proof that you are growing. Personal growth is an iterative process. We are never going to achieve perfect truth. Instead, our goal should simply be to be just a little less wrong tomorrow than we were today.
Let's speed through values 3 and 4, failure and rejection. We're totally wired to avoid failure, right? But the reality is, the most radical shifts in our perspective happen at the tail end of our absolute worst moments. Failure is what builds deep resilience. And rejection? It's mandatory. Modern culture tells us we should say yes to everything and everyone, but if we never reject anything, we literally stand for nothing. Rejecting alternatives is the only way to establish a true identity and figure out your clear direction in life.
Okay, let's slow it down a bit for this fifth and final value, because it is incredibly poignant. Contemplate your own mortality. This idea stems directly from a tragic event in Manson's own life. When he was just 19 years old, a close friend of his died suddenly in a cliff diving accident. Going through that immense grief forced this massive, transformative understanding of what it means to truly be alive. Death literally forces us to look beyond ourselves, to something greater.
Following that horrific tragedy, Manson started having these vivid dreams of his friend, and in the very last dream, his deceased friend asked him this incredibly striking question. Why do you care that I'm dead when you're still so afraid to live? Wow. Just think about that for a second. In the face of death, all those superficial values we stress over, they instantly become totally meaningless. We have to go after the things that make our lives actually meaningful without giving in to fear or embarrassment. So I'm going to leave you with this question today. If your time is limited, what truly meaningful mark are you going to make on the world before your clock runs out? Are you going to keep sweating the small stuff, or are you finally ready to live?